This is Stay Paid, a sales and marketing podcast on a mission to help you close more deals and retain more business.
Welcome to another Silver Dollar episode of Stay Paid. My name is Joshua Stike.
And I'm Luke Akery.
And Luke, for the last podcast, if I did the math right, this will be our last podcast of 2022.
It's kind of sad. Yeah, I'm very thankful, though.
Sad. Yeah. So
I'm very thankful, but 2022 is coming to an end.
So we figured it'd be a good way to end the year talking about gratitude. You actually did so you do this Motivation Monday.
Yeah,
Motivational
Monday Mindset.
Okay,
Monday
Mindset in an insurance group that you're part of, Reminder Media sponsors and is part of. And you did one on gratitude the other morning, and I was watching. I'm like, you know what? Yeah. We need to do a podcast on that.
I think it was on my mind because of Thanksgiving and just the effects. I mean, you mentioned it before we came on. Literally, there's studies out there. I never knew this till I started to look into it. Like literal studies saying that you're not only improved in happiness of life, but your health.
Yeah.
You're like 25% healthier. Like two psychologists did a study where they literally had people write down like grateful thoughts every single day. And then they had another group write down negative thoughts every single day. And then they had a third group write down just anything they think of. And they did that, I forget for how long, 30 days or something like that. And at the end, I think it was longer than 30 days, because at the end, the group that wrote down the gratitude thoughts, not only were happier, we're healthier.
Yeah.
We're like literally healthier. Yeah, physically healthier.
Yeah.
And so it's like really interesting. You can look it up on Harvard's site.
It turns out like gratitude actually can rewire your brain. So there is science behind it. So the hypothalamus, right? This is it's like your prefrontal cortex or something in the brain that regulates your appetite, your sleep, your body temperature, your metabolism, actually is activated when you feel gratitude.
Really?
Yeah, and it fills your body with a rush of dopamine, which makes you want to feel that high more, which makes you want to be more grateful and find more things in your life that you're grateful for.
Makes so much sense. It reminds me of the Miracle Morning. I mean, it's part of the Miracle Morning is reflecting and gratitude and stuff like that. But the hardest thing for me is I can practice it, but I don't feel it often. And so it's really training your brain to not just say the words that you're thankful for something, but it's really training you to really think deeper into what that means and what your life would look like without it. Like perspective is everything in life, and gratitude gives you that perspective.
Yeah.
Now, I heard this quote the other day that impacted me when I was talking about gratitude. It said this: feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. So imagine that. We're coming up on, we just had Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And imagine having a present and not giving it away if you have gratitude and you don't express it.
Yeah. I was watching another video. They said actually showing gratitude, eventually it develops this coat of armor around your brain that actually protects you from negative thoughts. Yeah. There's this other thing it's
like a force field.
Yeah. So they've done tons of studies on this, and you can actually look this up. I don't have all the studies listed here, but there was a video I watched by Jim Quick. So you can look that up on YouTube. But I thought it was super interesting because they've done studies on this physical health and energy. Grateful people feel less physical pain and are more likely to take care of themselves. Okay. So they've done this through studies. It impacts your mental health because it reduces envy, right? If you're more grateful for the things that you have, you're less envious of the things that other people have. It reduces resentment, regret, depression, and can actually help you overcome trauma. By showing gratitude. It improves your sleep. So one idea is to write in a gratitude journal, just like you said. If you write a gratitude journal before sleep, it actually helps you go to sleep. And then the other big thing that I think is so important today is it actually improves your self-esteem because it reduces social comparisons. So when you're online on Instagram looking at everyone's, picture perfect life, because that's what people post on social media. It's a disease, man. Comparison's a disease. Yeah, it actually reduces the amount of social comparisons because you're thinking about the things that you're grateful for.
Yeah. Well, Steve Harvey said this, and it really changed my outlook when it came to life. He said, think about the hardest day that you've gone through. Think about the hardest, toughest day, the adversity that you faced that's just been overwhelming. Mm-hmm. Do you know you have 100% success rate?
Yeah, you're batting 1,000.
You're batting 1,000, meaning you have those hard days have not affected you. You've made it through. Even though they've been hard in the moment, you've made it through every single one of them. And when you start thinking about life that way, you start approaching it from this perspective of gratitude and being like, hey, look, there's nothing that I will face in life that I can't overcome.
Yeah. There was another, what was the other thing where it said something like you can't complain about what's on your plate when your entire goal was to eat. It might have been for the same Steve Harvey video.
So
or something
good.
Like that.
I love Steve Harvey.
All right. So how do you actually show gratitude day to day? How can we make this practical and tactical for your business? So here's some ideas. One is to keep a daily gratitude journal. You touched on that a little bit. List 3 things that you're grateful for each day, 3 things in the morning and 3 things in the evening. One way to think about this is to count up all the things that money can't buy. Right. So don't just think about the material possessions that you own. Think about the things that money can't buy. The fact that you can walk, the fact that you can see, the fact that you can, talk, and converse and have relationships with other people. I saw a quote that said, like, imagine waking up tomorrow with only the things that you were grateful for today. So when you think about that, like think of all of the things that you have in your life that you couldn't imagine not having tomorrow. Those are the things that you can be grateful for. Another one is to make a practice to tell someone that you appreciate them. So it's sort of like the thing you said, wrapping a gift and not giving it. Like make sure if you're feeling gratitude and you're expressing that you're actually telling that.
Well, one of the most important things you need to understand about life is what you appreciate appreciates.
Yeah.
And so I always tell people I invest in real estate because it's an asset that when you buy it over time, over the years, it appreciates in value. What you appreciate in your life, what you show gratitude towards, will appreciate in value. And so if you feel like you're not getting value out of your relationships, ask yourself, when was the last time you appreciated them?
Yeah. All right. The third one would be to look in the mirror. So think of something that you like about yourself. I know this can be tough for a lot of people. It's tough for people that are, critical of themselves or self-critical, to think about the things that you like about yourself. But that's a really good way to practice gratitude. The other one is to practice mindfulness. So instead of thinking about the next thing, develop some habits that allow you to stay in the present and appreciate what's happening now. Take a deep breath, slow down, get away from your devices, right? Get out in nature. You said before the podcast, well, if you look side to side.
It calms your stressful part of your brain.
Stressful part of your brain. That's a great way to stay present because it's the same idea as meditation where you're focused on a specific activity that you're doing now.
Yes.
So you're not so worried about the next thing, which allows you to realize what you have today. The fourth one here is to reduce judgment. So that inner critic, that's going to keep you from expressing gratitude. So be mindful of that. Be aware whenever you're judging yourself or others, and try and reduce that. So there's some tips for what to do to express gratitude.
I shared in the insurance syndicate that I went to a funeral of one of our past employees. Unfortunately, he passed away from cancer. And just the people who are coming up speaking about him and the impact that he made on their life was really, really powerful. And it just made me remember that in life, one of the best ways to think about gratitude and to get into that frame of mind is to think about your impact and think about legacy and think about, kind of your greater purpose, because it immediately transitions you out of the materialistic things, out of the money-driven things, which, those things are good and there's a need for them, but it immediately shifts you into a greater mindset. And when you look at life, you have to look at life not as a burden, as a blessing. And if you think about how you live your life right now, when you don't live it in gratitude, you live it in negativity. Yeah. And you're seeing life as a burden. And we all know those people that literally, they're not grateful for anything. Like you can literally give them anything and they complain over it. And so that's just a big challenge that if you're suffering to get into that mindset of gratitude, think about the impact you want to make, the legacy you want to make, and the legacy that's been made for you.
Yeah. Here's a fun example. I read a story while just doing some quick research on this. And it's this father had twin sons, right? And so one was very optimistic twin, just happy about everything. The other one was very pessimistic, so always complaining, and then the optimistic one was always happy. So one Christmas, the father wanted to test them and to determine whether or not he could change their attitudes. So in the pessimist boy's room, he bought a bunch of toys, filled the entire room with every toy imaginable, everything that this kid could want, right, in his room. In the optimist kid's room, he filled it with a pile of manure, right? And so then on Christmas morning, the boys get up and they go in their rooms, and the pessimistic boy sitting in his room, the father comes in and the boy's crying. And he goes, "What's wrong?" He goes, "Well, I just have all these toys now. I don't know which one to start with. They all require batteries. All my friends are going to want to come over. I've got to read all the instructions, all of these issues with this gift of the toys." And he went into the optimist kid's room, and he was just smiling and dancing around. And he goes, "Hey, like, what's going on?" He goes, "Well, with all this manure in here, there's sure to be a pony somewhere." So there you go. That's a little motivation, a little story to help you remember how to keep a positive outlook, which will help you express that gratitude, which will make you 25% healthier. Thank you so much for listening. You can head on over to staypaidpodcast.com for the show notes and the video of this episode. And if you're looking for ways to support the show, you can head on over to remindermedia.com/shop. There you can buy some Stay Paid merch.
Yeah, get yourself some
Reminder
swag.
Media merch. Yeah, get some swag there. And the best way to show your support is to share this episode with a friend. If you want to get a hold of me or Luke, you can email us at podcast@remindermedia.com, or you can find us on social media. We're at Stay Paid Podcast. For this episode of Stay Paid, I'm Joshua Stike.
Guys, I'm Luke Acree. Your action item from this episode is what you appreciate appreciates. Who are the people that you need to reach out today and send them a text message, give a phone call, write a thank you letter to? You should show gratitude to people in your life and make that a habit. It can change not only your life, but it can also be a positive impact on them. Remember, the difference between top producers and mediocre producers in every business is top producers take action. Take action on that today.